Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. It's Sunday, August 29th, and man, it's going to be a hot one today. Tried to get down here fairly early, but kind of slept late today because I was wore out from yesterday. I've been working on that big cistern tank, that 2,000 gallon big white tank. I got the bottom, the big pit hole dug out by hand, and I got it put in there. And I have it buried most of the way up to the top, and a little bit of dirt on the top, and it's full of water completely now, so there's no danger of it floating again. And I'm going to finish that off today. I got the one end still that needs covered up, but I got to do the plumbing and I got to get it all hooked up, so I'm going to try and do that today. But I wanted to get down here and work on the bees today because when I've been feeding, I found a hive, Unlucky 13, continues to be unlucky. So it's a 10 frame deep, and that's one of our Wildflower Meadows queens, I believe. I'll have to go back and look, it may not be. But anyway, it's just not thriving like it should. There was a bunch of ants up in the top when I pulled the top to fill the feeder, and their feeder was only about halfway down, and they weren't taking that feed anymore, so there was a few dead bees in there, so I just dumped it out and put some fresh in there, but I only put about 1 inch of nectar in there this time. But it's been a week and I need to get back in there, and I want to boost that hive up because it's just not cutting it the way it is. And they just had multiple things happen to them, and I'm going to try and give them their best shot. So it's time to start boosting hives now. A lot of you said we'll add a frame here and there, and I tend to wait a little bit for that till about, September time frame is when I'll start boosting these hives, and then on into October is when I'll start combining the ones that just aren't cutting it. So that's kind of the method I've used. So I'm going to check on Unlucky 13. If the ants are still there, I'm going to put some, I think it's called Tanglefoot. One of my viewers gave me that tip on that stuff, and then it works good. And I'm going to put that on around the bottom, and I'm going to grab a frame, and I'm thinking from Hive 20, because when I tried to feed Hive 20, man, I can't even get in there. And I've been feeding late in the evening because that's about the only time I can get in there. And when I lift the lid on Hive 20, man, they all come out. So I lifted it up and they all came out, and I was like, I'm not dealing with this. So I just put it back down. So Hive 20 is probably a good candidate to pull some frames from. It's a new hive as well, but it's up to a double deep. And they may be a bit too strong going into the winter. They may have too much population and they're not building up stores. So we'll check Hive 20 and maybe weaken them down a little bit. So, and Hive 1, Tiny Swarm, is in a nuke. We need to check it and see if they're ready for a 10 frame deep. I don't know if I'll get all that done in this video, but I'm going to start on Unlucky 13 and see what it looks like and see what we need to do. Let's get going. Okay, here's Unlucky 13. You can see I pulled some of the frames out of there. Just to reduce them down some. They're still in this 10 frame box, but I've reduced them down and scooted it over to the side here. And I've reduced the front down also. And they appear to still be in there. So let's get in there and see what we find. I'm curious to see if I run a bunch of ants out of the top like I did before. And not a single ant, but one wax moth that just went down in there. I think I got it. So yeah, we got wax moths starting to threaten this hive. And a little bit of nectar I put in here is gone, so that's been consumed. So we can probably give them a little more. So yeah, right now we've just got bees right here. Yeah, so we just got bees on a couple frames there, looks like. So let's check on the queen real quick. And it was fairly dark when I was out here last time, so I want to see what her pattern looks like, how many larvae we've got and all of that. But yeah, we definitely want to boost this hive up. It's just basically an empty frame. Also want to pay attention to food stores. So we've got brood on here, and here's our queen, and she's not marked. So I need to go look at the history on this. I don't have my book down here with me. I would say that's not our Wildflower Meadows queen. So there's no nectar, eggs, or anything here, or pollen. And a little bit of brood right there. And nothing here. So, from what I'm seeing, these bees are starving out. There's no food stores in here. There's no honey in the tops of the frames. There's no pollen. There's nothing. Even with the nectar that was in there, it's empty. So they probably couldn't get to it before because of the ants. And they consumed all that I had put in there, which wasn't a whole lot because I was concerned about the ants bothering them again. Okay, so this hive is not going to build up. It's not going to recover. There's not enough population for them to go out and bring in enough nectar for them to thrive. They're having to compete with these 29, 30 other hives here for the forage around here. And we're kind of beginning the fall flow now, but they need help. So they need pollen, they need honey, and they need population. So I'm going to go over to Hive 20 and see what I can take out of there and boost this little hive up. I need to check on that queen, her history and lineage and what's going on with her, and see, because if that's a Wildflowers Meadows queen, she's not marked anymore, which is odd. So this may be superseded, and I may have marked this queen earlier. I don't recall. Anyway, that's what we need to do. So we'll just add these frames to this, and I'll replace where I'd pull them out with these ones right here. So let's get over to Hive 20 and see if there's some resources that we can use over there. Okay, here's Hive 20, right out here in the sun. Ought to be nice and hot. And I looked at 21 and I noticed something odd here. And look at that. That is termite damage. That's the first time I've ever noticed that around here. So somehow some termites have built them a tube up to that and started eating that hive. So need to get in there and look at that bottom board and see how much damage it is. Hopefully it's just contained to that little front piece there. All right, let's get in here, see how strong this hive actually is. Okay, this hive has been a little hot lately, but every time I'm in it, it's, you know, getting really late. So I'm gonna give them some smoke. See, I did smash a few bees that night. I put the lid back down quick. It happens. Yeah, so totally different behavior from this hive. When you go into it the right part of the day, so doesn't look all that strong right this moment. So they've loaded that up with nectar, which is probably from this feeder here. Yeah, so queen's not up in the top. This is all nectar. So probably, since we're feeding them, I can take one of these nectar frames, and that'll be, actually I can just feed that hive the way it is and accomplish the same thing over there. So I will leave the nectar frame. Let's go see, check her brood pattern, and we'll grab us a frame or two of brood if it's good and strong, which I suspect it is. Okay, quick change of plans. So I'm not going to mess with this hive. So this is a new hive starting out this year. It's doing okay. I'm not going to mess with it. So what I did is I went down the row here and I grabbed my hives from the back and weighed them. This is pretty heavy. It's got a super on it. I'm going to leave it alone. Number 23 there with a brick on it. It's really heavy, and it's doesn't have a super. So let's get into that one. We can probably grab a honey frame out of there, and we can get us a brood frame too probably. So let's go into 23, right? Plans change. Okay, plan B. Yeah, this hive was pretty heavy. When I do the weight check, I'd say it's ready for winter the way it is. Feels like I'm lifting 45, 50 pounds from the back. Oh yeah. We may have trouble finding brood up here in the top. So that one's not quite full. It's a honey frame. So it looks like the whole top here is full of honey. They may be honey bound. So there's this honey frame that's about half capped on this side, totally capped on the other. So this will be good to take to our donor hive over there, Unlucky 13. So this nectar area, they can use that right away. And to use the honey, they have to uncap it and dilute it down and get it to where they use it for this time of year. So I'm going to shake these bees off best I can. Okay. Now I'm hoping we'll find a brood frame right in here, but I doubt it. That's all honey. That's all honey. You know what? I'm going to grab another one. Let's see if I can find one that's completely capped. Yeah, so this is all natural. There's been no feeding on this hive. They're not all capped. I'd like to find one like that. Well, it's going to be no fun lifting this off of here looking for a brood frame. This is going to be a heavy sucker. Yeah. They do not need this much honey, so we'll grab, maybe this one will be the one. Yeah, this one's a lot more capped than the rest, so we'll take it out. Now let's get this off of here. Man, I'm wishing I'd picked a hive over in the shade to do this. It is hot, even with this ice vest on. So that's fresh drawn out wax there. It's been a good hive this year. I'm going to go ahead and give them a little smoke, just because I'm not worried about finding that queen. We want us a nice brood frame that's got a lot of capped on it. And that's mostly nectar. Pollen. See all that pollen? So that means we're going to get into brood here pretty quick, because they stack the pollen up next to the brood. And there it is. A lot of uncapped on there. So I really want one that's more capped and less, fewer larvae, because there's not a lot of bees over there to take care of larvae. All right, so here's pollen. and capped. And I don't see any larvae on this side, neither this side. So I'm going to walk over in the shade and look over this real good and make sure the queen's not on here, then I'm going to move it. Okay, so I didn't find the queen, so this is all nurse bees here, and I'm going to set it back here on the stand just for a minute and see how strong they are, and I might grab another frame. And I might spot the queen, which would, you know, if you can spot her, you're sure you didn't move her that way. There's a nice frame of brood. That's a good candidate to take right there. So she's got a lot more brood in here. We'll go ahead and take one more. And there's the pollen, so now we're getting less. I do need to give them a frame of pollen though, although that one does have quite a bit on it. So she's laid fresh on this one, so she may be on this frame right here. There's eggs on it. We got eggs right in here. Don't see her. This side is capped right here and larva right there, uncapped. Yeah, a lot of open larvae on this. We don't want to take it. I'd really like to give that frame a good boost with one more, or that hive over there a good boost with one more brood frame. And we're getting in nectar here. Okay. Too much open cells on there, too many open cells. So I'm just going to go with that. And I'll replace her a frame back in here. So let's get our frames and get this put back together. So here's a nice frame from 2019. We'll put it right there. So that gives her a nice open area to lay right in the middle of her brood chamber. Because they are a little honey bound, I'd say. No room to lay in the top, and they're putting nectar in these outside frames. So she needs space. That will give her some. Man, that's heavy. All right. So we'll put those empties here in the middle. She may come up and lay up there. Actually, that's fairly empty. I'm going to put it towards the middle. Getting this kind of drone comb off of there. There we go. This hive, this is ideal what you want to see heading into the winter. I know winter's a ways off, but they don't have a super heavy population and they got lots of honey. So you know this hive is not in danger of starving out. It's not overpopulated, it's just right. It's not going to make honey, but we don't care right now. Going into the fall, any nectar they go out and forage, they're going to store it for winter. Okay, so we got 2 honey frames and 1 brood frame over here on the stand. We need to get that over there and install it in that other hive over there. And we need to take a second look at that brood frame and make double sure we're not putting this queen over there and moving her. I'm just gonna grab this whole thing like this. Okay, let's get back in here. I covered it up while I was over there. So before I mess with this, I'm going to do some ant prevention on it. Okay, real quick, So one of my viewers, his name's Dave. Thanks, Dave. He turned me onto this stuff. It's called tree tanglefoot. And you can put it on like a hummingbird feeder on the pole, and ants can't get by it. So he told me about that, and he used this on his hives and it worked. So I've already used it, and I've had it placed down here, but it's mostly worn off. But this time I'm going to raise this hive up and put it on blocks. So I'm going to treat the blocks. So let's get that done real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to elevate this hive and just set it on 2x4 blocks and just treat the sides of this block. I ordered this on Amazon, if I remember right. I'll try and put a link below if you want to get you some. So I just did the 3 sides. I'll do the front after I get it in here. And I'll try and scoot it back a little where the bees won't light on it. Because a few bees do get in it. Okay, front's done. Let's do the back. Okay, we want to put our brood frame in here where it's not right up against our queen, because these are from a different hive. Normally I like to drench these bees, but I don't have a drench prepared right now. So I'm just going to get them right here, and I'll put that other frame of honey next to them, and I'll put the other frame of honey on the outside here. So the honey will be to the outside. Honey, brood, honey, and then this empty one. And I put the open nectar side towards the bees so they can use that right away. Here's the brood frame. Just making double sure we don't have us a queen on here. There is a little super procedure cup right here, and it's dry, it's empty. Okay, so we just added a frame of nurse bees and future workers. And the last frame of honey. And let's get the lid on it because we got robbers flying around, looks like. Okay, one step closer for unlucky 13. It's a little wobbly because those boards underneath it didn't go all the way across, but that was intentional so I wouldn't have to use as much of this tanglefoot stuff. And they got brood to build them up a little bit, but I wish I had another frame. You know, on second thought, putting 2 frames of brood in there in a weak hive like that, you know, the 2 frames may have had more bees than the original bees, and they might kill that queen. So we're just going to go with this. I'll come back later, check them, give them some feed, and the next thing we can do is in a week's time maybe shake a frame of nurse bees in there, you know, making sure you don't have the queen. So that's one step closer for this little hive here. Man, it's struggled all year and last year too. This is an unlucky spot. That's why I call it unlucky 13. So I'm going to make a separate video of the tiny swarm. It's just going to be just too long. So that's the end of the video. Give me a thumbs up and put any comments down below. Subscribe before you leave, and we'll catch you all in the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.